Welcome back, students. Now we're going to cover a couple of diseases that are scab diseases that you may see on citrus. The first one is citrus scab. That's its common name, also commonly known as sour orange scab. And it is a fungal disease caused by Epidemiology falcidia. It occurs primarily on sour orange, which is used as a rootstock, and also on grapefruit, lemons, mandarins, sasumas, tangerines, and tangerine hybrids. Now, citrus scab, this first one I'm talking about, it rarely affects oranges or limes. And citrus scab will affect and cause disease symptoms on the fruit, on the leaves, on the young shoots, and the symptom is irregularly raised, corky, scabby, wart-like outgrowths. Pretty gross when you see that description. And these severely scabbed leaves and fruit, they'll become misshapen and distorted. The rind of the fruit will get thick and puffy once infected with the Epidemiology falcidia fungus. These are some pictures of the symptoms. And you can see these where the arrow is pointing. This is the citrus scab symptoms. You see these real raised, corky, wart-like outgrowths on the fruit here. Here you see them on the leaves. Here again, some on the fruit. These aren't quite as raised as these here, but the arrows are pointing to these symptoms of citrus scab. Now the other scab disease is called sweet orange scab, and it's also a fungal disease. This one's caused by Epidemiology australis, and sweet orange scab is a disease that will infect sweet oranges. Now citrus scab, as you recall, doesn't usually infect the sweet orange or the lime, but the sweet orange scab, it infects sweet oranges, limes, lemons, mandarins, sasumas, kumquat, grapefruit, tangerines, and tangerine hybrids. The disease was first reported in Louisiana and Texas in 2010, so it hasn't been around a long time, but once we detect something like this, it seems to spread fairly rapidly. It will produce these circular, smoother, flatter pustules on the fruit than just the citrus scab. The sweet orange scab is not quite as pronounced, but it will give the fruit that corky or scruffy appearance. And here we can see symptoms of the sweet orange scab. Now you'll note that there are some real big differences between these, and this is another one that sometimes people confuse with citrus canker. So with a lot of these diseases, when you see them and you think you've got something, before you start doing any type of treatment or even destroying a tree or something, it's a good idea to contact your local extension agent to come out and give it a closer examination to make sure that the disease prognosis and that what you have is what you think you have. But here's the sweet orange scab symptoms showing up, these wart-like lesions. Now this you can see sometimes on fruit, and it's quite different from citrus scab. The sweet orange scab will make sometimes these smooth, flatter pustules that you can see here. And sometimes on fruit like this is so different from these. These have been misdiagnosed as sunburn on the fruit. But these three are actually caused by the fungus that causes sweet orange scab. Now, the epidemiology of both citrus scab and sweet orange scab is pretty similar. They require moist conditions to reproduce. The pathogen is spread primarily by splashing water or wind-driven rain that gets the spores that are produced into the air and able to spread from one plant to another. But by moving leaves or fruit around, you can also spread the disease that way. So you don't want to be moving diseased tissue around from one place to another. Between crops, the pathogen will survive in those pustules of the plant debris that's left either on the infected leaves, twigs, or even fruit that's left on the tree. So it can survive on that for extended periods of time, and as soon as conditions are right, new growth begins. You've got the scab fungus producing spores that will spread. And there's a little bit of a temperature difference between the two. And as you can see here, the citrus scab develops rapidly, and its optimum temperature is 68 to 75 degrees, whereas sweet orange scab also develops rapidly, but its optimum temperature is 75 to 80 degrees. Now remember, these are the optimum temperatures for the fungus to develop, reproduce, and infect. But there is over a broader range of temperatures that it is actually can be active and still spread. And management of citrus scab and sweet orange scab, they can both be controlled by a series of well-timed fungicide applications. Now, on the fruit, it's only susceptible for the first 6 to 8 weeks after it begins to form. So during those first 6 to 8 weeks of development is when the fruit is susceptible. And so to control that, your first fungicide application should be made just prior to the bloom, and that will protect the foliage of the spring flush from infection, and then apply again to protect the developing fruit, and that's just after petal fall. And it's again 3 to 4 weeks later after petal fall, you want to make another fungicide application to protect those young developing fruits. And there are several fungicides that are available to commercial growers for scab control, but with homeowners, which probably most of you are, the only approved fungicide are the copper-based fungicides. Now these are readily available for homeowner use, residential use. This is the same fungicide that we talked about using to spray to protect your seed trees from citrus canker. So you can buy this one fungicide, and even though citrus canker is a bacterial disease, the copper-based fungicides will protect your tree from citrus canker. And both citrus scab and sweet orange scab are caused by fungi. So again, you're going to use this copper-based fungicides to protect your trees. And as I said, you've got a couple of different applications that you want to make if you want to keep your plants disease-free. Now, as you note, we apply just prior to bloom and then after petal fall. So one thing you don't want to do is apply the copper-based fungicides during the bloom period. You do it just before the bloom and after petal fall, and then again 3 to 4 weeks later. And that's when you want to be doing your fungicide applications to protect your citrus trees from citrus scab and from sweet orange scab. So these are two scab diseases. They are a little bit different, and as we noted earlier, the actual sweet oranges, they are susceptible to sweet orange scab, but not the standard citrus scab. And a lot of the other citrus, though, is susceptible to both. So keep your eye out for these, and know that you can protect your plants from infection from these two fungi.